Welcome to Holistic Health and Healing, a show offering solutions for the body, being, and beyond. In each episode, we discuss topics that empower you to take a holistic approach to step into your unique voice in this world. Now, here are your hosts, Dr. K and Hank Setala, the Sonic Shaman.
Good morning, everyone. We're here with kind of a part two from last week. We're going to be talking all about grounding. And this is something that's been coming up for me recently. I didn't realize how ungrounded I was until I got grounded. And then it's like a whole new world of how you function. So it's a great topic to follow up from last week's meditation topic.
Totally. And yes, speak of that, I think we're both on the same page. Maybe I'm feeding off of Hank.
Maybe. It's funny how that happens.
It's been an ungrounded morning for me. And so I had to settle myself too.
Awesome. So I kind of put a little rhyme to this, like the more grounded you are, the higher you, as above, so below, the more grounded you are, the higher you can go. And I have this idea of, as you start to really step into your potency and walk your soul path, to be fully present in the body, to be fully present in the earth, that's where you can be in the world and not of it, and like really project divinity into this physical realm. So grounding is so important, but it's so uncomfortable for so many people because of this reality and what we're aware of. Sometimes it's uncomfortable to be fully present. And now that comes down to judgments and things like that. But today we're going to give some tips, tricks, how to get grounded, how to stay grounded, and how to keep that process evolving so that as you grow one way, you're also more grounding more the other way. So you always have that balance.
Yeah, being grounded and being in your body, super, super, super important, guys. And we are often not in this day and age. We're not. So it's been that kind of a morning for me. So how do you know if you're not grounded? Things to look for. If you forget your keys, if you're driving and you're like, how did I miss that street? How did I make this turn? And I wasn't supposed to. Being on autopilot, that's not being grounded.
You're describing my entire life up until 2 weeks ago.
Most of us are not grounded majority of the time. As you, I think, meditate more and you get practices in place, you will be more grounded. And if you have to ask yourself, am I grounded? I don't know if I'm grounded. Then you're probably not grounded if you even have to ask yourself that. So this is something that we would best work on every single day. I don't like to use the word need because the word Nazis over here. Need is a point of lack, but best to work on getting grounded daily and being in this practice and becoming this practice, because this is crucial to, I think, any of the other things. Yeah, it's the foundation. It really is the foundation of building on everything else. Being grounded, and you will be more in awareness and you will be more in the present moment, because we're either in the past or we're in the future. Oh gosh, it's 6 o'clock. I got to go do this. We're already thinking about the next things we have to do. I mean, I'm guilty of it too. I think we all are. Trying to plan, and it's okay to plan. Put it on your schedule and then get back to the present moment. Because when we're not grounded, we have more anxiety. When we are not grounded, we have more difficult time healing from conditions. We have a difficult time clearing things in our body, mentally as well. So when I do my Paramitas process with my clients, the first thing I do is get somebody grounded, because it's more challenging to clear these past traumas when you're not grounded in the moment. So those are things to look for. If you're finding that you don't remember where your keys are, that you're driving and you missed a turn, that you're forgetting things in the house a lot. And I'm not talking about dementia or Alzheimer's, but it's these things. If you're like, I don't know where I put that, I just had it in my hand, that means your brain is somewhere else and you're somewhere out here and you're not in the moment.
And the other reason it's so important is that when you're looking to actualize and manifest here in this middle world or whatnot, like the congruency is a huge thing. So if you're not fully present, like what percentage are you truly creating from your soul space? Like what percentage are you actually able to actualize based on what you could truly be and create in this world and create possibilities for yourself and everyone? If you're out there in the cosmos, like avoiding this with letting the autopilot drive everything, you might only be at like 5% capacity. Imagine if you were at 10%. 50%, 80%. And a huge key to that is grounding. And part of the reason we don't like to ground is because we're all empathic to some degree. We're aware of all this stuff, and the body is what's picking up that awareness. And if we have judgment about what we're aware of, then we're like, well, I'd rather not be in the body to be aware of all that because it's easier for me not to know. So just giving yourself permission to be in your own awareness, not judge what you're aware of, that's when you can really start being present and fully grounded.
Yeah, and one of the ways we get ungrounded, one of the biggest ways, is with fear and nervousness. Whenever we get into fear around something, not wanting to deal with something gets scary, we pop out of our bodies because we just kind of don't want to deal with it. If it's a conflict, confrontation, something happens at work, somebody you got to talk to, you're in a moment of bears coming at you, you're gonna pop out because it's just too scary. So maybe we can go over some techniques you have to ground. I have some techniques that are quick to use because there's some longer techniques and I think there's some quicker techniques, and sometimes we need the quicker techniques, right? Because you just passed your street and you're like, oh man, I'm obviously not grounded. So that might be something we could go over.
One thing that I would say, and I wouldn't do this on a public stream, but in Access Consciousness, they have this entity that they call a Beckamek, and it's an acronym for a whole bunch of things, but it's basically the autopilot that you assign to do all the stuff that you're avoiding. And there's like a particular clearing that you can use to get that out of the way so that you can be fully present along with that and the thymus exercise. If people are interested in that, that's more like a one-on-one thing, because it would be an unkindness to people on a public stream just to like obliterate their autopilot if they're not ready for it. So that's like one thing just to throw out there if people are interested in. But for the one that you just said, like when something's hard and you just pop out, there's a clearing that's great for that. What have you made so vital, valuable, and real about whatever that is that you're not willing to be fully present with it? Everything that is, be willing to destroy and uncreate it. Because you're identifying the energy of what is causing you to pop out. Maybe it's an original wound. Maybe it's an awareness of a past life. Maybe it's just judgment. Whatever it is, you made it a solidity in your world. And if you can ask the question, what have I made so vital, valuable, and real about blank that I'm not willing to be present? Everything that doesn't allow that to go away, destroy and uncreate it. And
maybe it's like your everyday life too.
It could be.
Just life is stressful, and it's happened to me. There's like, today's probably one of those days. It was a lot for me, encountering something I've never done before this morning. And I'm like, oh, okay, I've never done this before. This is a little nerve-wracking. And you pop out. So for some people, daily life is challenging. And, we medicate with alcohol and other things because we don't even want to be there. For those folks, we need to really double down and start this work so that you can really be present. It's not so bad. It really isn't.
And also another thing that I'm thinking of is like when you think about what an infinite being you truly be and what are we currently choosing, what camouflage are you using to choose the conformity you're choosing instead of the infinite being that you could be. So like a lot of, I think, being out of the body is like just when you are fully present, you know what you're really capable of, yet we're choosing to be lesser than that. And it makes it almost unbearable to be on our own skin. And that's why we don't want to be grounded. So it's like it's a multifaceted thing, like getting rid of the things that are uncomfortable and being willing. In fact, I just posted something on my Facebook today. It was from Neil Donald Walsh. She's been popping up in my stream so much more. I just want to read this as soon as I find it. It was like so good to really get to the essence of taking the leap to be you. And it is great. So it says, if you need to know in advance that everything will work out before you jump in, you'll never jump into anything. Yet jumping in is life's greatest excitement. It is the grandest adventure. Don't deny yourself that. Just go for it. Trust that life will bring you benefit no matter what happens. And here is the ego problem, because as soon as you think about a cool possibility and you're looking to actualize like a soul impulse, then the ego says, whoa, we don't know what's going to happen. Why did you choose all this stuff? We know what's going to happen. You don't know the outcome. And the ego freaks out. And so many times we end up intentionally choosing to be lesser than what we could be, because we're not willing to step into that unknown potential and chaos of the universe. But if you would, it could be so much greater.
Yeah, what was my message to you yesterday? My brain doesn't like uncertainty.
Yeah, I forgot about that. Your brain doesn't like uncertainty.
I'm a very structured thinker, guys. So for me, this is definitely a challenge. And I've been easing into this more and more, just trusting and knowing that everything will work out. And that's for some people, that's really, really tricky, really tricky. And it's a big pull. I will tell you, my ego, guys, is pretty strong. Not that I'm egotistical, but it really likes to pull. Like even when I did my show, I didn't know how the money was going to show up. I was embarking on something completely different, but somehow I just trusted that it will all work out. And I put my intention out, and every day I grounded and I visualized. And because to manifest anything, you really, really need to be grounded. Like Hank said, to manifest any kind of abundance, wealth, health, you need to be in your body. You need to be in your body. And we are, and I apologize, I'm using the word need and lack, but this is a time where you really need to be in your body as much as possible. Because if you're out here in the ethers where it's fun and light and easy, then you won't, like Hank said, you will get 10%. You won't get the max. We want you getting the max. So,
and if you're not in the space of choosing you, don't judge yourself for not choosing you. Instead say, well, what else is possible here? What would it take for me to want to be more me today than any day before? And I just wanted to bring up just some of the comments, because a lot of people are saying good morning. We're so thankful that everybody's joining us. We had Ernie saying getting down and dirty. We have Carrie saying that he's like, dude, great timing as I need this right now. That was just right after I read the comment from Neil Donald Walsh. And then we have someone else saying that I find that some areas of life are easier to trust than others. And that's very true. In Rishi's Metaphysical Institute, they break down all of our life into these departments. And even, you could even think of it like the zodiac wheel. Like there's all these departments, these houses of energy, these departments of our life. And you may have mastery in one area and completely flop on your face in another area. So you might handle money really well, but your relationships suck, or vice versa. So it's like going into each one of those areas of your life and bringing light to what needs to be healed here for me to truly be the full expression of myself in this theme of energy, in this department of energy. And you do the whole circle. But we have a tendency to focus on what we're good at and not to look at what we're bad at. But now is the time to look at all of it.
Yeah, it is really the opportune time right now. We are in a time right now, and where the higher vibrations are coming in, and things during the time of COVID, things that we needed to look at were being pulled up, and for us to look at them, because what do? Shove them under the carpet, or we're ungrounded because we don't want to look at them. So it is really an opportune time right now to like both of us really, to heal.
Cool. And Magic Mike, he actually studied at the metaphysical school, I said, for like 30 years. He got the actual official pen for completing the program. I only went through for 3. So Mike could totally school me on the school. But he was saying that the lady who came up with some of the programs that they have talking about departments of life, she was actually an astrologist. So it's just a good validity of that I was picking up the right energy with that. So truly, what would it take for all of us to look at the totality of everything? Because now is the time for all of us to show up, because we're moving from the kingdom of me to the kingdom of we. And the more grounded we can be, then the more possibility that we can create for all the people, all the beings with or without bodies to really thrive on this planet. What would it take? And what if the greatest gift that you could be to that process is just being you? Everything that doesn't allow that, destroy it and create it, including being grounded. Right and wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all 9 shorts, boys, and beyonds.
Yeah, absolutely. There's so many different avenues to get to your destination. I always tell my people, find what resonates with you. If you're like, okay, I really like this. Because I've tried a lot of things in my life. I'm like, that was okay. And I learned from those things, and I never poo-poo them. I learned something from every single person I've been with. And I've, found the things that for me work, but they may not work for others. But you also want to look at resistance, because that'll pop up too. We may give you guys techniques to use. And you're like, oh, okay, this is great. And when I tell somebody, do this 5 times a day, every single day, do this meditation every single day or twice a day for 30 days, there's a reason I tell you to do that. But all my clients come back, I didn't do it. I didn't feel like, I resisted it. Yeah, these resistances will come up because your ego will pull you back and say, no, don't do that. It's safe here. It's good. You don't have to do that. We're good. We're totally good. Because a transition might happen. You actually might shift into that space where you get grounded. I am super aware when I'm not grounded. I know when it's happening. My ego likes to play these games. So when you get to that state of awareness, that's the key too, is to catch yourself and go, whoa, okay, I know I'm ungrounded right now. So I really need to buckle down and do a technique or something to get myself back in the body. So you'll see all these little things come up.
Speaking of techniques, Carrie's asking, hey kids, love this. Please remind us of your techniques and the motions and mantras. I know that it's helped me, but I would love an update. And I'm going to have to remember what we might have offered in the past. What's your go-to technique, motion, or mantra for grounding? And I know I have one from shamanism that I'll offer, but I'll let you go first there, unless you don't have something.
Mine, I do a 3-step technique, and I have a video, and I guess I should have put that up. I should have sent that to you.
On your YouTube channel?
Yeah, it'll be under my YouTube channel under grounding. I labeled it as that. So there's a video on it. It's a little muffled. I actually put it out during COVID to get people grounded because so many people were in such fear and anxiety with everything. And that's not the space to be, because you can't. The other thing, when you're ungrounded, you can't see clearly. When you're in anxiety and fear and all this you can't see clearly of what to do, what's ahead. So you got to bring yourself back to awareness. So the way my technique goes, it's a 3-step technique. You put your 2 fingers under your nose, and you take this hand, you put it on the nape of your neck, you put your tongue to the roof of the mouth, and you breathe in for the count of 6, and you hold and breathe out for the count of 6, for the count of 6, and hold at the bottom for 3. And you do that until you feel a little sway forward, until you kind of clunk in your seat, or until you're like, I've been sitting here for a long time. You move on to part 2, and part 2 is you take your left hand and you put your thumb you're gonna pinch your earlobe. See if I can do that. You're gonna pinch your earlobe, but your thumb is always on top, and you're gonna cross the other one over, and you're pinching both earlobes with your finger or your thumbs on top. And always close your eyes, and tongue always to the roof of the mouth, so you close that meridian. And again, you breathe in for the count of 6, hold at the top for 3, and breathe out for the count of 6, and hold at the bottom for 3. And you do that until you feel a little sway forward, until you kind of relax in your chair, or you're standing, you just kind of feel a little more relaxed, or until you're like, okay, I've been sitting here for a while. You go on to part 3. Part 3, you take your right wrist over your left, and you can't see my ankle, but you take your left ankle over your right. So whatever your wrist is doing, you want to cross your ankles the opposite direction. And the same thing, put your tongue to the roof of the mouth, close your eyes, and breathe in for the count of 6, and hold for 3, and breathe out for the count of 6, and hold at the bottom for 3. Again, doing this until you kind of clunk in your seat, until you feel just a tiny, you'll get good at this. You'll feel a little sway forward. That's how you know you're done, or you move on to the next step. This whole process feels long, but honestly, I'm so good at it now that it takes me, I don't know, maybe 30 seconds to do. And it will bring you back to front and center. If you really, really just don't have time to do that, don't have time. We're going to do a whole thing on time, because that's my issue. Really, if you just want super, super, super quick, put your tongue to the roof of the mouth, close your eyes, and just breathe in slow for the count of 6, hold at the top for 3, and breathe out slow for the count of 6, hold at the bottom for 3. Tongue to the roof of the mouth, super important, close your eyes. If you just want, that's probably, half-ass. Ooh, half ASS. And then
you're allowed to swear. It's not going to be the end of the world.
We use the word SHIT, right? The acronym. I don't have an acronym for that today. So but really, to get grounded, use that technique, and maybe Hank can find a little video on that, and just practice that. I tell people to do that minimum 5 times a day. I start my morning with that. I end my day with that. And throughout the day, if it's been a rough client, I sometimes have to do that to bring myself in center, because I go out and try to help people. I'm like a bleeding empath. I got to bring that back to myself and say, okay, no, because then it gives you more clarity. It's kind of like you get to look at everything and you say, oh, and your intellect pops in. Okay, this is what I need to do. If you're not grounded, it's more challenging to take right action.
Now, what was the video called again? I'm on the station.
Grounding.
It's called grounding, really?
Yeah.
On your YouTube or on your Facebook?
It should be on my YouTube, but I have it on my Facebook as well.
Grounding. Unless it didn't roll over for some reason. It's possible. Well, because anyway, I will find the link to it and post it. But for everybody, if you want to go to her YouTube channel, the best way, if you go to emergenceofbeing.com, there's one menu item that says live streams. And under there, you'll see all the YouTube channels affiliated with Emergence of Being. There is Dr. K's, there's Stir Crazy Shamans, there's my channel, Sonic Shaman, there's Shaman's Way. And then we're also going to be having Deanna coming on, and she'll have a channel. So all the contributor content is all located in one place on the Emergence of Being website. So you can go binge watch whatever you like. And the the main thing for grounding that I would offer for people a little bit more on the shamanic sense is find a tree, you go up to it and literally put your navel to the tree and you offer the tree your heaviness. And what you're doing is, for the underworld, our heaviness is light. And so you're offering like a gift to the tree, to Pachamama, to allow any heaviness to go out of you. But that's also like allowing you to take root like the tree. It's like giving you a tether to the earth because you're gifting this heaviness. So that's a wonderful way to be grounded. And there's trees all over the place. And if you really can't find a tree, just you could lay on your back, but preferably on your stomach, because there's something about the navel. They say in my tradition of shamanism, which is the Paco Cuna tradition in Peru, that the navel is the only thing of you that is real, and everything else is woven into the illusion. And so if you could place your navel to the tree or your navel on the ground, there's just an added potency for the connection to be able to start dumping that energy out and giving you that sense of grounding, and even also the sense of lightness, because it's like twofold. You're using it to help anchor yourself, but you're also enlightening yourself. So you're kind of stretching yourself both ways.
Yeah, that's another way. If you don't want to put any work in, just going and being around trees, the forest, and there's a lot of trees. Sit next to a tree, it will naturally ground you. It has that ability to do that. Some mentors and teachers have the gift of being able to just being next to somebody who's grounded and can hold themselves in that state. I'm getting there. I usually can get my folks grounded. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But like my mentors can get the people grounded too. Just being around that kind of person can ground you as well. I'm trying to think of other things, but nature is a great way to get grounded.
And if you find yourself in a really grounded space, there's an NLP technique called anchoring. Think of it, it's like Pavlov's dog. Oop, Dr. K went away. It's like Pavlov's dog, that he activated a tuning fork and the dog would salivate, then they would feed the dog, and eventually they could just ring the tuning fork, not feed the dog, and the dog would salivate. That's the effect of anchoring, that when you trigger an anchor, that it still creates a physiological response. So like if you're in a space of being super, super grounded, all you need to do is pick an anchor. You could use a tug of the earlobe, or in NLP, we oftentimes will use the knuckles. Like, so this one could be for grounding. This one could be for when you felt the most inspired, one for the most loved. And you have these different anchors. So, hey, if you're in a job interview and all of a sudden you need confidence, you could hit the anchor for confidence. So if you find yourself in a really grounded space, pick an anchor, use that. Mine for meditation was 3 deep breaths. I just did 3 deep breaths, and then I was able to like enter the meditation, because I had done that so long through all my meditations that as soon as I started taking my 3 deep breaths, I was already in the space of a full-on meditation without having to do any work to get there. And Dr. K is back. You can add yourself to the stream. It wouldn't throw me off.
Sorry about that. I tried to go to apps because I was trying to find that YouTube link, but it kicked me off.
I just didn't see, well, I have all your videos. I thought all your videos embedded in the page, and then I didn't see one called grounding, because I wasn't actually on your YouTube channel. I was on like the Emergence of Being site, which I thought had all your videos. But Mike was bringing up a point. Anybody out there that has a YouTube channel, if you have an unlisted video prior to a certain date, then all those videos are going private if you don't opt out. So that's what Mike was referring to, if you were seeing his comment, that there's like, I had to do that because I have a whole bunch of videos prior to that date, because we've archived a lot of the old Shaman programs with these unlisted videos, and all of a sudden everybody was going to lose access if I didn't address that. Anyway, and how about you guys out there watching? Do you have any tips and tricks of how you stay grounded? Certainly put it in the comments. We can bring that up and kind of let the conversation go around with what's working for you. Or are you really flopping, trying to keep grounded? Maybe we could offer insight specific to your situation.
Yeah, there's other longer techniques. You can sit in a chair and start at the bottom of your feet and, pretend or see like cement being poured, heavy cement being poured from the bottom of your feet, and then it goes up to your shins and it goes up to your knees. That takes a little longer to do. Or you can, picture yourself in a tub with cementy type of material coming all the way up to your neck. But that can take a little longer. And a lot of times, we are in a jiff and running around and need something really quick to get us in a quieter state. And this is one of those ways to do that. So yeah, that's probably nature, doing the cementing technique, doing the technique I just showed you. just a breathing technique, just always putting tongue to the roof of the mouth and doing the breathing technique, that will bring you a bit more front and center. When you do the 3-part technique, it has a design to hit these chakras, hit your middle chakras, and then bring in the lower part of the body. So all the parts of the body, that's why it's a 3-step process. So all the parts of the body get engaged, because sometimes we miss a part of the body and like this part's not all in, the rest of it may be in. So that's why it's important to do the 3 steps.
And ohms are great. Like, so from sound healing, there's actually a tuning fork you can get that's weighted. So if you feel the vibration going through the fork, it's 136.1. It is the frequency of ohm, an actual mathematical calculation of the Earth's rotation, right? That's ohm frequency. And so you could use a tuning fork. They're on my website, of course, if you want to pick one up. And they're also sold at Goddess Elite if you're local. You can just stop in. She has them in stock. But you activate it. You could just place it on the heart. You can place it on the feet. And that frequency of Earth, because we are kind of in shamanism, we say we are the earth is us. So it's kind of like a macro type of thing. So by using that earth frequency on yourself, you can bring yourself to a space of grounding. And if you don't want to get a tuning fork, you can literally just do toning. Just do those tonings, and you could do the Peruvian one, which is Pachamama, which is the name of Mother Earth. And as you hear those notes, it's actually a toning of the energy centers. As you go around the mesa calling in the directions, they all correlate to different energy centers called nawis, which helps to regulate that and also helps to ground you and be balanced. So toning is a huge thing if you want to invest a little time in seeing what notes you can tone for what things.
Yeah, Om is great. You can do it in your car. You just Om. If you do that, maybe like 7 times, that will it's the resonance of that sound that brings you back to earth. So that's something else you can do sometimes. If I've done it actually in like a grocery line, kind of just chanted it to myself because the person in front of me was having a really tough time. So it cleans the area, it cleans you, it actually cleans the room. If you play Om in a room, it will ground the room, it will clean the room of its energy, and it clears you as well. So it's kind of another simple thing to do. And I think Otto would pounding a copper grounding rod into the ground with a copper plate. I'm not sure about that.
It could. It depends.
Ground, but
there is a lot of variables when it comes to copper rods buried on your property, because there's actually an Egyptian technique to change geopathic stress points of a property. And you would actually do the copper rods to a very specific length, do it in the corners and the midpoints, and you could change the geopathic stress, which could be useful. Like if you have a hot spot of activity and there's all kinds of entities and stuff like that, and because of that, you're like, I'm checking out because I don't want to be around all this entity chaos. Like doing some intentional work with copper rods and things like that may actually bring you a lot more ease to be in the body when you're on a certain part of property. But copper by itself, I'm not 100% sure. Like I know with a little bit more intention, it could definitely be of use, but I don't know if just a copper rod and a plate, what that would do or what it wouldn't. But.
Yeah, I think I'm hearing in my mind like it would work on a space, but maybe not so much within you if you're somewhere. Because a lot of times we are on the go. What do you do then? These are the things that you can do when you're out and about. And I just had another thought, and it went poof.
Yeah. Well, while it comes down to
it's still here.
Putting your feet in any bottle of water, in the Paco tradition, they say that the waters run deep into Pachamama. So as such, any body of water is a great place you put your feet in, and you get an amazing grounding effect if you can do that, because you're really connecting deep within the earth, and that will give you a great sense of grounding. And that's another time where you can say, hey, I'm offering my heaviness, and just let that be an experience not only of grounding, but to get anything heavy, anything dense, everything stagnant, the cellular memory in your body from stored traumas and dramas and projected points of view, all get out that way. So,
yeah, being by water is super grounding, and my thought just came back.
Yeah.
A lot of people are checked out.
What?
A lot of people are checked out. Let me say that again, Hank. A lot of people are checked out. A lot of my clients that come in, I know automatically if somebody's checked out or not. What I use to get my clients grounded really is I work on the crown chakra. That's one of the places that if people get dizziness or kind of They tell me they're lightheaded a lot. This is one place I work a lot because that's by itself some of the energetic technologies I use working on the crown chakra will get somebody grounded and help them stay grounded at least for a little while. But a lot of people are checked out. We don't want to deal with life. We don't want to deal with what's in front of us. It's easier to just be checked out. In la la land.
It is paradoxical ease. This is a new concept that I came up with. Like, if you really put out a question on trajectory, if I choose this 5 years from now, how does my life feel? You'll avoid choosing things that just appear to be easy, even though they're not. So, like, I call it paradoxical ease. So, like, truly, you should be over here doing this. But if you just ask the question, what makes it easy? It's over here, but it's not really ease. It's like an illusion of ease. And we oftentimes will choose that. So everything you're choosing, really ask the question, if I choose this, how does my life look like in 5 years? Am I more on my soul path or am I less? And start letting that be the counter. And let's get rid of this paradoxical ease stuff that we keep choosing because we think it's easy, but truly it's just pulling us further from where we truly love to be, which is being able to express our beingness into the world. Sorry.
Yeah, I had a reframing. No, I actually, a question popped up for you, Have. I'm just putting it out there as an intention question. So then my thought that pinged a light bulb for me is like, so what's the difference between resistance and ease? Because sometimes we embark on things that will take us to that next level, but they're uncomfortable. So if we ask ourselves this question of, does this feel light or does this feel heavy? Remember how we kind of talked about choosing things that are light? But sometimes we're going to choose things that are light, and is that a resistance in disguise? Because actually, if we choose this, it will bring us to this next stage in our life, but it's going to take a big oomph to go through that door. So it doesn't, in turn, it just doesn't feel light, although in the end it will be light. Do you get what I'm saying?
That's why you do 5 years out, because you're going to, if it doesn't feel light now, but you say 5 years out, I know that it is lighter, then it might be a little bit of world turned upside down. Pachacuti would call it in shamanism. However, even that, what would it take for the resistance, for the things that we perceive are going to be hard to come with ease and joy and glory? That's a mantra of access. All of life, the good, the bad, and the ugly, could come with ease and joy and glory. And they give this example that this guy who moved down to Florida to get away from tornadoes, and a hurricane came through, and it wiped out his entire house. All he had left was a slab, and he had his underwear. That was it. And he's just like, well, at least I still got me, right? So he went to this place of, it came to him with ease because of his point of view, and that he was thankful for the life that he had, where other people were complaining and misery. So truly, like anything that comes to you, it's your point of view that creates how that is going to show up for you and how it impacts your beingness or not impact your beingness. That's the real key. Any external event should not impact your beingness, because your beingness comes first. So if you can go through that resistance and everything with ease and joy and glory, it doesn't have to be hard. It's our points of view and judgments that we get FUBAR'd with. And FUBAR'd is effed up beyond all recognition. It's an acronym term from the military, right? So stop FUBARing yourself and allow even the things that we think aren't desired to come with ease and joy and glory. And it doesn't have to be hard.
Right. So when you embark on something that's in front of you, you're like, oh boy, this is going to be hard. Okay. Maybe it will be really easy. What if it could be really easy? That's the question. I always say, what if? When you ask your brain a question, it starts going, oh, well, what if it could? You start feeling a lightness. So when you're embarking on something, just be in awareness of, I know this is, you'll kind of get that feeling like, I know this is really good for me, but I don't want to do it because I'm fearing it's going to be too hard, or it's going to take too long, or
I'm going to be judged for it. How often do we not choose it because we're afraid how people are going to judge us for choosing it? Right.
Yeah, that too. And then you stop, pause for a minute and go, okay, but is this going to be good for me down the road? And then it's like, okay, maybe it won't be as hard as I think. Maybe I'll move through this with ease. And what you'll find is when you actually say, okay, I'm going to do it, you'll look back and you'll be like, wait, that was way easier than I thought it was going to be. It happens every time.
The other thing that this could be is and I've talked about this in a TikTok video I did just the other day, that fear is sometimes misidentified as excitement, because as we're growing up and we're excited to explore the world, our parents are projecting their fear of us getting hurt. So we're excited, we feel their projected fear, and we start to get the two confused. And that's where this acronym is amazing: feeling excited and ready. What if that tenseness is really excitement that you've misidentified. And it is a signal saying, oh my gosh, I can totally choose this and it's totally going to be fine. And it really is just a matter of stepping out of the space where you've been programmed that energy is one thing when really it's a completely different thing.
Absolutely. So there's all these little things, and our hopes is that we bring light to some of these things that you didn't think about it that way. You just thought it was just plain fear when there's all this other stuff, or you didn't bring awareness and just some peace to the moment so you could see it with more clarity. When you start seeing that, things start to change and you start to act differently and you start to manage life differently. So these are really, really, really basic foundations that if you just get these grounding-like techniques and tools down, you're going to be able to navigate so many different things much quicker in life versus being in fear and stress. Because stress and all that stuff, we create all this stuff in our heads. It doesn't exist. It really doesn't. I was driving here to the office this morning and I'm thinking, I'm creating all this stuff in my head. It is all created. None of this is realistic even. So we have to remind ourselves of that. We create the hard. We create the chaos. We create the stress. It is all created between your ears here, you know?
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be.
Point of view creates your reality. Reality does not create your point of view. So what if your points of view, judgments, considerations, and conclusions are forming the solidities in your life that you're identifying as stress, anxiety, and everything else? And what would it be to just be interesting point of view instead of having a point of view? And all that can start to loosen up, unravel, and you can have a different possibility, one that isn't weighted down by all this trauma and drama of this reality. Yeah,
absolutely. And if, some of these things are tricky. And one question I get a lot of, or comment, should I say, is, okay, this is all makes sense. And I try, but it's not going away. And how come it hasn't stopped? How come my stress hasn't stopped? I'm doing the work. It's not going away.
I got a question for that. Where is it? I think I have it here, or do I not? Oh, I don't have it ready. But the question to ask from Access is, who does this belong to? Is it even yours? Are you aware of your next door neighbors freaking out because you're moving and they're afraid they're going to get bad neighbors? Like all that kind of stuff. Like, is it even yours if you've already done the work? Actually, I would ask that question first before you do the work, because what if 99% of the work you need to do isn't yours to begin with? So start with, who does this belong to? Send back to sender with consciousness. And now what's left? Let me look at that. And then the question is, where was the original wound or imprint, whatever you want to call it? Because getting to that first, instead of popping all these bubbles or peeling the layers of the onion, you get to the core that's fueling all this stuff to show up for you. You get rid of that and all the other stuff melts away. And it just falls away with total ease, instead of like peeling a layer and another one fills in, because the fuel that is creating it in your life has not been quenched. I think that's a great word for it, quench. We'll go with quenched. And I think we had a couple questions. So Carrie was saying, I've been doing family of origin work. Childhood trauma has really affected my life, killed my self-esteem, and my fear and anxiety have been uncontrollable. I just want heavy darkness to go away. Thank you for your videos. You're very welcome. And there is any Access practitioner who's taken foundation, there is one energy process called biomimetic mimicry. And it is where we emulate the energies of our family, friends from childhood and things, and recreate patterns from our childhood and our current life. So an energy process like that may be very beneficial for you if you like to look people up. If you're local at Emergence of Being, there's myself and Deanna that both are Access practitioners that can run that body process if that's something of interest. Or just connect with the earth and ask the earth, what flavor of energy does my body need to release that? Because a lot of it is cellular memory and stuff that's stored in the body, but the being might have dealt with it. So like working on the body, and that's going to help you ground too, because part of the reason we don't feel safe in the body is because of these childhood traumas. And I had a lot of craziness in my childhood, so I can personally relate to what that can do to you later on in life. But the sooner you can get to the core of that and let the body start to get rid of that memory, it can be life-changing. At least it was for me. And I invite you to have that same possibility if you choose to, by looking into some resources. And
yeah, we've all I've gone through that too. Got programs that parents gave you, and
yeah, and Lee, thanks for tuning in. She just says great info and conversation. She's got to run. Thanks for sharing. Hope you catch the rest on a replay. Thank you so much for tuning in. What other questions or comments would be a contribution to what's going on in your guys' world with grounding? What else could we offer to you? Or what's coming to you, Dr. K? What other contribution could we be to the conversation that could change everybody and give them new possibilities with Total Ease? Everything that doesn't allow that, we destroy it and create it. Right and wrong, good and bad, pot and pop, all known for its boys and beyonds. And the first thing I'm hearing is just to show up, because the biggest thing with grounding or not grounding or healing or not healing is just to have at least a presence enough to realize when you just checked out and you could go, oh, wait a minute. And already you're starting a different action. You're choosing something different. Even if you totally foobar all the tools that we gave you, you noticed and you're actively trying to create a change. That is going to bring you into what we call the rule of 51%. You're desiring the change more than you don't. And that will be enough. You don't have to be 100% right on with everything at the beginning. Just desire it more than you don't. Show up, be aware, and everything else can start to unfold for you.
Yeah, that's before you even asked me, like when you asked me, like, what are the, I'm like, just be aware, just start the awareness process. The other thing that's popping up too, and I think this is a little sneaky sometimes.
Ooh, I like sneaky.
Yeah, it's a sneaky thing to unwind. And I'll be vulnerable and use myself as an example. I'm used to being a busybody and just kind of going and going and going. And sometimes we do certain things. For instance, we become a victim because it gives us something. So you kind of want to look in this sneaky way of sometimes, like for me, sometimes I like to be in the struggle because it makes me feel like I'm being a busybody because somewhere I adopted this thing that I need to be busy. So it's giving me something.
So there's a one word for this called secondary gains, like the things that you gain from relating to a disease. Like I had a client with lupus that loved her disease because she always blamed everything she didn't want to do on the lupus.
Exactly.
But what was the thing I was going to go with that? There was another thing, and now it just went poof.
Well, think about that.
Come back. Oh no.
But yeah, I'll just, while you're thinking, I'll just keep talking. Maybe it'll come back. But yeah, you want to look at what you're getting from your situation. And I know most people are like, what? That's ridiculous. An example of this is somebody that filed for disability. And if we heal them, and if we work on healing this individual, well, the disability money goes away and now they have to go to work. Or somebody that has cancer and their husband maybe didn't love on them too much, but now is because they feel sorry for them. Well, if the cancer goes away, is my husband now going to go back full-time to his work and not love me as much as he did? These are the sneaky little things. So we'll keep something running. For me, it's like the struggle thing. Like I need to be in this like busybody, keep moving, and because it's somewhere it's giving me something. So where is maybe something giving you something that you don't want to look at? That you're locked in this little hurricane of things that you keep doing over and over and over, yet you want to get out of them, but you don't really want to get out of them, because if you get out of them, then what goes away? So what benefit are you getting? What benefit is your disease giving you? What benefit is your anxiety giving you? What benefit is your condition, situation, circumstance, victimhood giving you that will cause something else to go away that you don't want to go away? It's sneaky.
And what would it take for you to recognize that you don't need that disease over whatever else it is for you to have that anyway? Like my client with the lupus, when she had the awareness that, hey, I don't need my lupus to say no to stuff, the lupus went away. It was a little bit more involved in that, but her lupus is gone. Her dad's lupus is gone because she's no longer empowering the disease because she's getting a secondary gain. But the other thing that was, my poof came back, is like these implanted things in childhood. I'm going to give a couple of them and then I'll do a clearing on it. No pain, no gain. No pain, no gain. No pain, no gain. You have to work hard to get ahead. You got to sacrifice to get ahead, or money is the root of all evil. Absolute power corrupts absolutely. So as an infinite being, are you not willing to step into your power because you believe if you do, you'll lose yourself and be corrupt? Are you not willing to truly have money because you think you'll become an asshole because money's the root of all evil? Like all these things. And what have you bought about, I need to work hard in order to have abundance in my life, when it could come with ease? So all these implants and explants from all the projections, judgments, conclusions from all of our family, society, from all lifetimes, destroy and uncreate all that shit. right and wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds, because it's all that stuff that's pre-verbal. Like you're a new child in the world, and your parents are maybe having a conversation of, oh my God, this kid's so expensive. What the hell did we do? And you're taking this energy that's in as if I'm not worth it. So these pre-verbal things, well, if I'm not worth it, how can I possibly receive from the infinite abundance of the universe? So all that brings up, and let's stop right and wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. I think that might have resonated for some people because that's still going really strong. So all the places where you were told that you're not worth it, and that's bullshit, but you accepted it anyway, and now are unconsciously manifesting that lack in your life, destroy and uncreate all of that, and allow the everythingness that could show up to your life, everything that doesn't allow that, destroy and create it, right and wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. That feels like
that's definitely going strong. The work hard one, I will tell you vulnerably, that's one for me, because my dad always told me, you're lazy, if you're just going to lay around, you're not going to work, you're not going to get anything. So yeah, I call it struggle, but it's really this working hard. Like if I'm not working hard, then I don't deserve to. God's not just going to give me stuff. I need to be working hard. So I create situations where I'm working hard. So, and that's a chaos. That's a stress. How many people have heard that from their parents? Or from your aunt, your grandparents, or whoever. You got to work hard to get whatever, to get through life. Life has to be hard. Life is hard. That's another one. Life is so hard. How many times have you heard that?
A lot.
It doesn't have to be. It doesn't. It's not.
Everything in any lifetime or any aspect of existence where we bought that point of view, we destroy and uncreate it. Right and wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. And just to give everybody, I'm doing access consciousness clearing statements. I should have prefaced it with that. If you want to find out more about that on my website, hanksetala.com/clearing statement, I have like a more in-depth explanation of what it is in a video embedded. So you can see a little bit more about it. But basically it's a magic wand that goes to the root of what is causing the chaos in your life to show up that you're not preferring, and getting rid of that. So you don't need to understand what it is for it to work. And I apologize for not saying what it was beforehand, because people are probably going, what the hell is this guy saying? But it's working, whatever it is. That's the beauty of access. You don't have to understand it to get it to work. And we have Carrie saying, cha-ching, yep, truth. That totally resonates with me about not having money equals I'm not worth it. What I heard from parents. Yeah. Yeah.
So I use a different process, but to unwind, but
whatever works, do it. There's a bazillion tools out there. And the question is, what tool could I use today that would create the most change, potency, and allow me to have more of me than any day before this? And those are the tools to use. What feels lightest? And sometimes you need help with that. And that's where we have lots of practitioners that can help out with that.
Yeah. This is awareness, like we said, is key, because if you're not even aware that this is happening, then it's challenging to puppet. If you're not realizing, oh, wait a minute, my dad told me I got to work hard every single day.
Bullshit.
I've been creating all this, because there's lots of things that have come in my life that have come with total ease and been dropped on my lap. It doesn't always happen that way, but it's a proof that you don't. Yeah, what if it could? You don't have to really work that hard. You don't have to be like this squirrel that's just running around, chipmunk that's running around in a circle on a hamster wheel, and killing yourself to try to get what you want, and then you're still not getting it. So that's creating chaos. And when you create that kind of chaos, you will repel good things from coming into your life.
Yeah. And just a reminder, folks, we have about 12 minutes left in the stream, give or take. So if you do have questions or comments, comment now or hold them until the next stream, or comment on the replay. Just make sure you tag us if you do it on a replay, because sometimes we don't see them otherwise. Jennifer was just saying, what an aha moment. Thank you for saying that. Saying that you make things harder, and saying that I realize I do too. Wow. And then Debbie was saying, my parents always said I could fall into shit, which is an acronym, spiritual human in transition, and come out smelling like a rose. And that's truly it's because you're responding to your reality instead of reacting. If you're reacting to your reality, that's where you have the crap show up in the trauma and drama, because you're not being fully present in whatever's showing up. But if you can respond, that's where things can come with ease and joy and glory, because you can be in your full awareness and be able to make choices that are going to have a more desired outcome. And it just makes everything occur with so much more ease. And you come out smelling like a rose.
Yep. And it's a process. As you start to gain more awareness, the stuff becomes easier and easier. But you got to do the work. I have to say, you got to buckle down and, all right, let's use my intellect. Let's look at this, what's real. And when you start really spending time grounding every single day, like before I had the techniques that I do now, And I'm going to be up leveling here soon. I'm getting even more coursework on extracting certain thoughts out of the head. So that will be interesting. At the end of July, I'm going to take more courses on that. But when I first started, all I do was sit in a chair in a darker room and just a dimmed room and just do breathing and plant my feet. And I did that. I made it a point to do it every single day. At the end of the night, I made it a point to do 15 minutes of this every single day, come hell or high water. And so I did the work, because a lot of people are like, oh, this is great. And they do it for one day. It's not working. You have to start creating this new habit. You have to start getting your mind to start pivoting. And every time you're in a different awareness of things are hard, life sucks. Okay, let's look at what is going good in my life, and let's stay there for 17 seconds, and it's going to create a different thought flow. So you have to start retraining your mind to do different things. And that does take, it's a muscle. It's like my muscles. You gotta start training the mind to do a different routine, and it'll become a routine. Like, you won't know, you'll feel lost if you don't do that 15 minutes every night. It's just, now it's like, if I feel guilty if I don't do something to start my day and end my day, because I know my day won't be quite as good if I don't do that.
Well, pot and pock all that.
Yeah, I'm going to pot and pock that, but it is a routine. I'm just, I guess, helping people to know that when you start creating these kind of routines, it becomes a way of life, and you start to ground more, and you start to be in a different state of mind, because there's no resistance. You've walked through that door, you've done the work, and it's like, oh, life is actually easier. Wow, things did actually land on my lap. So it doesn't have to be hard.
And truly make them conscious routines, because what you don't want to do is develop a routine and then fall into monotony and on autopilot within the routine. So like it still comes down to awareness. And even if you've done a lot of your work, because I've done a ton of work on myself, and I would tell you, no joke, I think in the last 2 weeks, I have done more shadow work and more inner work in the last 2 weeks than I had done in my entire life up until that point. So there is always new depths that you can go to. And so if you think you got it, be the invitation to say, what else is possible? What else could I shift and change in order to have more of me show up? And everything that wouldn't allow that to stir and create it. Because truly everybody, 100%, I believe, 100%, that your greatest gift to this world is being 100% you. In shamanism, you call it your katari. It's your medicine gift that you have in this world. Whether that's cutting grass, clipping hair, being a healer, being a teacher, everybody has a medicine gift that they could offer to create a greater set of possibilities for everyone.
Yeah, and the work goes on. So I was at this point in my life where I thought, okay, I'm going to make all these crazy thoughts go away, and I'm going to be no stress, and I'm just going to be like, Zen every day. It doesn't happen. There's always more work. There's always another level. Like Hank even said, both of us have done a lot of work on ourselves to get to where we're at. This did not happen overnight. It is work. And I think we're in such an instant gratification world that we want things like that. We want to feel better in a week and in a day. And that can happen. You can gain, you have to be really receptive for something like that. And but it normally, on average, does take a little bit of work. You can get there faster because we have really fast technology to get you there. But there's always another level. Just when you think you forgave somebody, I'm good. And then all of a sudden it pops up again as another emotion. There's always more work. It's constant work on the self. And there's very few people in this on this planet right now that are self-awakened that don't do that kind of work, because they're already there, self-actualized. Very few people. So don't feel like, I thought I did that. I keep working on it. It's not better. You are better. You have made strides. You're better than you were 5 years ago. You're better than you were yesterday. You're always making a stride forward. Any kind of healing that you do, your body, your soul are healing. You are getting better. Maybe you're not where your ego thinks you should be.
Yeah. And I'm hearing to share too, like some people, they stop working on themselves because they have this idea that they're settling. I have enough now. But what would it be like in an infinite universe to always say, how does it get better than this? What else is possible? What new heights could I go? How much more of me could I possibly have? And to always be in this space of more and greater. And that will be the life and experience that you create. But how often do we get to the place where it's good enough instead of how does it get better than this? And that is like something that's ingrained in us. There's other people who need it more. It's an infinite universe. Go ahead and ask for more.
Yeah.
And then what greater possibilities could you create in the world if you were to allow yourself to receive more? And this is where we come into this idea of Aini, which is divine reciprocity. As you increase your willingness to receive, you have a greater contribution that you can be. And it creates now this upward spiral possibility, not just for yourself, but for everyone. And so like we're in this together, folks. Like what would it take for us to truly go out of the kingdom of me and into the kingdom of we and be the contribution to each other without obligation? So it's not like I'm giving to you and now you got to do this for me. That's not true kindness. That's not true contribution. Contribution is just what could I offer as a medicine gift into this world? And it's really who you're being in this world. And then the universe gives you unlimited opportunities to express that beingness through doing with what shows up. And that therein lies the magic of creating your reality.
Yes, sir. Well said.
Sorry, that was coming through me. So if I went off on a rant, I appreciate everyone's indulgence.
That leads into next week, I think, kindness and contribution to the world, because sometimes we don't do that.
Next week we have a guest. Mary's going to be on doing
okay.
Talks because she has a class going on locally. So we're going to have Mary on, and she's going to talk about what she's offering, and that's going to be available at Harmonic Journeys, which is like a local center in Lakewood, if you happen to be local. And if you're not local, you'll just be able to receive what we can offer through the live stream. But also speaking, if you don't know where to start, if you check out emergenceofbeing.com, there's a profile page for Dr. K, for me, for Casey. Deanna's is almost done. She's doing crystal healing, Reiki, shamanism, and all kinds of things. And then on the first and third Monday of every month, Dr. K and I join forces and we offer the Energy Clinic. And this is available in person or virtually. So if you don't know where to start, this is a great spot. But I think almost everybody at the center, in fact, everybody at the center, because it's a requirement to be part of Emergence of Being, offers virtual sessions of some kind. So if you're looking for somewhere to start, pick someone who resonates with you that you feel has the medicine for you and reach out and see what possibilities we might be able to facilitate you into stepping into and having more of you. Because that's really the goal for everybody is to help you to perceive, know, be, receive, and express your unique voice in this world in a manner that you are not going to diminish yourself by judgments of others or judging yourself.
Absolutely. Again, well said. It's what the soul, it's what your soul being wants. Deep down inside, we all want some basic things: love, respect, and to expand. The soul wants to expand. We're the ones who often don't allow that. And how wonderful could it be if you really filled that and you just felt alive with that?
Awesome.
And expressed yourself.
Thank you all for joining us today. And we will catch you next Friday.
Namaste.
Namaste.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining us today for the show. Holistic Health and Healing is part of the Emergence of Being Contributor Network. Visit us at emergenceofbeing.com for all of our contributors' content and to learn about our services and upcoming events. Please take a moment to subscribe to the channel. You can contribute to the show by supporting our efforts and sharing our content with those you care about and those who need it most.